Hello guys, in this session I'm going to talk about how to deploy a Node.js application on Azure App Service using ACR. So first thing first, let me introduce myself. My name is Isuru Pathum Herath. I'm a third year undergraduate of SLIIT campus Malabar on the specialization in software engineering and also working as a trainee software engineer under DevOps and cloud teams at LOLC Technologies. And especially I'm a member of msclubsliit. So that's enough about me. So let's move on. In here, you can see the steps that we are going to follow today. We have 5 steps to follow. In the first step, I'm going to run a Node.js application locally that I have implemented already and push the source code into GitHub. Then let's see how to create a Docker image locally and deploy it in our local machine. Then let's create a worker pipeline and automate Docker image creating and also upload Docker image to the ACR. After upload the image to the ACR, let's see how to deploy our application on Azure App Service. Additionally, I want to tell you that how to deploy our application on Heroku also. So in here, I'm not going to tell you in detail about these technologies, but I want to tell you I want to give you a brief introduction about these technologies that we are going to use today. So first, Node.js. Node.js is an open source cross-platform backend JavaScript runtime environment that runs on the V8 engine and executes JavaScript code outside the web browser. Then React. React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces based on UI components. So in this session, I told you that we are going to deploy a Node.js application. So I use React.js to create our application. So then GitHub. GitHub is a code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. It lets you and others work together on projects from anywhere. So I'm going to use GitHub as our version controlling system in this session today. Worker. Worker is a Docker-based continuous delivery platform that helps software developers build and deploy their applications and microservices. This is created by Oracle team and Worker teams. So then ACR, or else we call it as Azure Container Registry. Azure Container Registry is a private registry service for building, storing, and managing container images and related artifacts. So in here, you can use Docker commands. So let's see what is Docker in the next few slides. Azure App Service, or else we can call it as Azure Web Apps. Azure App Service is a cloud computing based platform for hosting websites. This is created by Microsoft and also operated by the Microsoft company. So Docker. So this is the main point of our session today. So Docker is a set of platform as a service products that use OS level virtualization to deliver software in package called containers. So I know that you may don't understand what are the containers, but let's see what are the containers in the next few slides. So before talk about containers and things, let's see why we are using Docker. Docker enables you to separate your applications from your infrastructure so you can deliver software quickly. In here, you can highlight two things: separate your application from your infrastructure, and therefore you can deliver software quickly. So what that means and what is going on here? So let's discuss it in this slide. So in here you can see Docker and virtual machine. Let's talk about virtual machine first. In the past, developers and operational teams used virtual machines to deploy their application. So Hypervisor enables you to create any number of virtual machines on the infrastructure. So each virtual machine has a guest operating system. Using that guest operating system, you can deploy your own app in each virtual machine. So in here, you should know that virtual machines virtual machines are heavyweight. It takes more memory, it takes memory, storage, and power, and network capacity, and many things more than using Docker. So let's talk about Docker in here. In here, Docker, you can see only one host operating system. So you know that in your local machine or else in your personal machine, you have CPU, you have RAM, you have storage uh, uh, hardwares, and same as your local machine in the infrastructure, the virtual machines are using resources. So each virtual machine want RAM, uh, uh, RAM and network and the storage capacities and so many things. So therefore, using virtual machine architecture is getting more than cost more than Docker. So in here, Docker lets you to deploy any number of containerized applications. So here now you can understand. Uh, Now you can see the main difference between the Docker and virtual machine architectures. The Docker architecture need only one host operating system, but in virtual machines, each virtual machine need guest operating system. So let's see the difference between these things in the next slide. So in here you can see virtual machine and Docker. Let's talk about virtual machine first. The virtual machine architecture in here you can see we have 100 GB, but and we have allocated our 100 GB memory to three virtual machines. In the first virtual machine, we have allocated 30 GB and 40 GB for the second one and 30 GB again for the third one. So in here, you can see that memory usage for the first virtual machine is 20 GB and 35 GB for the second virtual machine and 25 GB for the third virtual machine. But you can see a memory based. Why we are calling it as a memory based? It's a unused memory, no? But in here, you should know that after allocating a memory for virtual machine, we can't use it for another process or else another usage. So that's why we are calling it as a memory waste. So memory waste is 20 GB in here, memory usage is 80 GB in here. You can't use this 20 GB for any other process or else any for any other virtual machine. But let's talk about Docker. In here, you can see 100 GB same as before, and we have allocated 30 GB, 40 GB, and 30 GB for each app. But in here, you can see the first difference between virtual machine architecture and Docker architecture. Apps are taking only 10 GB for each, but this is not the same for all the apps. But in here, in the example, apps are taking 10 GB for each and the overall 30 GB for the all the apps. But in here, you can see each virtual machine take 20 GB, 35 GB, and 25 GB. And the in here, the main difference, the first difference between Docker and virtual machine that we can identify here is memory usage. Virtual machines are taking memory usage more than using Docker. That is the first difference. And also here memory usage is 30 GB overall, and the free memory in here wasted memory waste, but in here free memory. Why we call it as free memory? Even we are allocated 30 GB, 40 GB, and 30 GB for each app. The reason is these apps are using only 30 GB, and this is a free memory. This free memory can be used to deploy another app or use for another process. So now you can understand the advantage of using Docker. So let's move on. In here you can see the virtual machines vs containers or else the containerizations or else we can say it is the Docker in we are talking about in here. So first let's talk about virtual machines. Virtual machines represent hardware level virtualization, heavyweight, slow provisioning, limited performance, and fully isolated and hence more secure. And containers, or else mind that this is we are in here we are talking about Docker. Containers represent operating system virtualization and lightweight, real-time provisioning and scalability, and native performance process level isolation and hence less secure. Now, in this picture, you can see the basic Docker architecture. In here, you can see client, Docker host, and registry. In here, client lets you the Docker daemon lets the client to run Docker commands such as Docker build, Docker pull, Docker run, and Docker push and things. And the client, if the client run the Docker build command, Docker daemon lets you to create a Docker image. If the client run the Docker run, the Docker daemon lets you to create a container using image. So what is a registry? Before talking about registry, let's talk about what are the images and containers. A Docker image is a file used to execute code in Docker container. Docker image acts as a set of instructions to build a Docker container. This is like a template. So in here you can understand that what is going on here. The image is a template for creating Docker container. So what is a Docker container? A Docker container is a runnable instance of an image. So you know that before build a house, you have to create a you have to draw a blueprint. So the blueprint of the Docker container is called as image. So using the Docker image, you can use Docker container. So after you build the Docker image, you can store it in the cloud as we are using GitHub. So what is the main purpose of using GitHub? We can push our source code to the Git repository. But in here, we are pushing not the source code. In here, we use the Docker commands, Docker registry to push our image. So you can push your image to the Docker repository, sorry, Docker registry, and pull your image from the Docker registry. That is the main thing. It is the thing that the registry do. So here also we are using Azure Container Registry. So I think that's enough about Docker. So in here you can see the basic structure that I'm going to use today. The developer create application and push the source code to the GitHub. And when the developers push the source code into the GitHub, automatically the worker pipeline will be triggered and started to run. And the pipelines will create a Docker file and push it to the Azure Container Registry. And after get the latest source code, or sorry, latest image from the Azure Container Registry, the Azure App Service will deploy the application. So now we are going to follow these steps. So first, let me run Node.js application locally and push it to the GitHub. So this is the project source code that I have implemented before. So I'm going to run the application. So I use npm start command to run our application. So it will take some time to deploy application. So in here, the compilation successful, and let's see. In here, you can see the application has been started. Let's see. So this is the application that I created before using React.js. Okay, now you know that this is the application, and just remind this is the expose port localhost 3000. This will be needed to using the Docker file in the future. So now we are going to deploy push the source code into the GitHub. So to do that, I'm going to stop this one and clear the terminal. Now first we need GitHub repository. So go to github.com and create an account if you don't have. If you have an account, let's create a repository. So go to new and give a name. I give name as Azure Deployment, and I use a private repository and create repository. In here, our repository has been created in private, but we can't see any source code inside the repository. But you can see the uh, commands that you can use to push your source code into the GitHub. But now I'm going to create a local repository inside our project file. So to do that, you can use git init, and in here you can see initialize empty git repository, and in here you can see a master branch has been automatically created. Now I'm going to check the status. In here you can see no commits and untracked files are in here. I'm going to add these untracked files into our git repository. We can use git add command, git add all using this command. And now I'm going to check git status. Now we can see all the files has been added into the local git repository. So I'm going to clear this. And again, now I'm going to commit my source code into local git repository. So to do that, we can use git commit -m. -m means message, and I use as first commit and hit enter. Now our application source code has been committed to my local repository. Then I clear this out, and now I can create a new branch. I don't need to push this master branch, but I want to create a new branch name as main. So to do that, I'm going to use this command git branch -m. M means this is the default branch that I'm going to use inside the GitHub. Git branch m main. So now in here you can see the branch has been changed to main. Now I can push my source code into the GitHub with the main branch. So to do that, I can use git push command. But before do that, I want to add the git repository location. To do that, you can use this command git remote add origin. Okay. So then I hit enter. Then I'm going to push the git branch that I created in here into the origin main. So hit enter, and you can see that the source code is uploaded. So now you can refresh the web page. Here we go. So we have uploaded our application source code into the GitHub. So that's it. So let's go to the slides again. So now you can we have achieved the first step successfully. So now we are going to create a Docker image. So to create a Docker image, we need to define a Docker file. So let's create a Docker file in our project. So I'm going to clear this one and just close it and click on here and click a new create a new file using new files and Docker file. Make sure you must use this name as your Docker file name, Docker file. So hit enter. In here, we have several steps. So the first step is full node Alpine version. I'm going to use Alpine version. Okay, that's why name as Alpine version from the Docker Hub, and name it as Docker build. Okay, this is the first step. So then the second step is clear the cache of current Docker image already pulled into the local machine. So then I'm going to change the working directory as Azure. So change the work directory work directory as Azure. The name is Azure. Then the next step is I'm going to copy the package.json file into the working directory. So copy the package.json file into the working directory. Then I'm going to run npm command. Run npm install. So run npm install. The purpose is download all the necessary dependencies and package for our React application. So then I'm going to copy the everything we downloaded to the working directory. Copy everything we downloaded into the working directory. Then let's build the application. So let's talk about let's see how to do these things first. So to the first thing, I can use from node. So to find the node version, you can search for Docker image, then go to the Docker hub, hub.docker.com, and search for node. In here you can see the official node package, node image in here, and in here I'm going to use this Alpine version. So I'm going to use this as Docker build, as I told before, as Docker build. This is the name that I'm going to use in here. Then now I'm going to clear the cache. To do that, I can run apk add - no cache on Nodejs and npm. So that's it for the clear the cache. Then I'm going to change the working directory. So to do that, I'm going to work directory as Azure. Then copy a package.json file into the working directory. To do that, copy and package.json file to the working directory. It's fine. So then I'm going to run npm install. Then to copy everything we downloaded into the working directory, I can use copy this command, and you can build the application using run npm build command. Npm run build command. Okay, npm run build command. So then that is the first steps. So now I'm going to do some other steps. Use the Node Alpine version that we used before. Again, here. Then I'm going to change the working directory. Change the working directory as web apps. Okay, web app. Okay. Then I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to copy everything from build image to the current working directory. In the end, I'm going to define the expose port of the application and then I'm going to execute npm run command, sorry, npm start command. That you know that why we are using npm start command before. Okay, so in here I'm going to use the same Alpine version in here. Then I'm going to change the working directory, web directory as web app. Then copy everything from the build image. So to do that, we can use copy command, copy dash dash from where is docker build, and from the Azure directory to web app. So then I'm going to expose the port. The port is 3000 as I mentioned before, and then I can use npm start command to start my application. npm start. So our docker image has docker file is already created now. So now we can create our docker image using this docker file. To do that, I'm going to use new terminal in here. Then now let me show you the docker image that currently we have docker image ls. Here you can see the docker image names in here, and also if you go to the docker desktop, in here you can see docker image that coming from the default. So then in here you can see the containers or as the apps. So I'm going to use the command line also, docker container ls. In here you can see there is no any container deployed in here. So now we are going to create our docker image. So to do that, you can use docker build command. I'm going to clear this, and docker build. Docker build in here -t means we need to define the name to our image. Azure, I use Azure. Then the version 1.0v. In here we can define the docker file location, but the docker file location is root path, so I can use dot. Then I'm hitting enter, and this will create our docker image. So this will take some time. So let's see. It is copying and npm build. In here you can see that every steps that we are defined inside the docker file is running in the terminal here. So npm run will take some time. So it is completed. So now copy from docker build from the Azure to the web apps and exporting to image and exporting layers. So now it's done. So our docker image has been created. So let's go to the docker image. So in here you can see the name, you can see a new image has been created less than a minute ago, name with Azure, and the tag is 1.0. So, and also in here we can check for it. So we can use docker image ls. So in here you can see the same result, and also let's check for container ls. But still we don't have a container because we didn't run our application in here. So now I'm going to run the docker image in here. So that means I'm going to create a docker container. So to do that, I can use docker run command. Docker run. In here I'm going to define the ports. So I'm going to use port 8080 from exposing port 3000, and now in here I'm going to give the name of the docker image. So docker image name is Azure and 1.0v. And in here, you can give a name, or else it will take a default name. In here, in the first example, I'm not going to give the name. So I just hit enter. Now you can see ID. This is ID of the Docker container. So let's check the Docker container. Docker container ls. So in here you can see status is up and up 9 seconds ago. Port is 8080 and the exposing port is 3000. So I told you before, if we don't define the name in here, the default name will be allocated to the Docker container. So the name is this one. So let's go to the browser and go to localhost and let's go to 8080. So in here you can see our application is running on here port 8080 using Docker. So in here you should know that we can create any number of containers or else the runnable instance of image using a Docker image. So any number of containers using a one image. So now again I'm going to give a customized name for my next container. So Docker run the before same command, and in here I'm going to define name. Name I just give the name as Azure Deploy, then hit enter. In here the error is because I can't use the port 80 because it is allocated for the first container. So I'm going to use port 8081, and in here you can see the Azure deploy is already here somewhere. So then I'm going to use another name, Azure deployment sample. So hit enter. What does that mean? So port 8080 again that I have used in here. So I'm going to just change it. Already in use by container. So just let me check for it. Okay, sample one. Okay, sample one. Now, yeah. Now I'm going to clear and search for Docker container ls. In here you can see the name Azure deployment sample one is our custom name, and port is 8081. So go to the localhost and port 8081. So then hit enter. So port 8080 is also running and port 8081 is also running. Just like this, you can you can deploy any number of applications, same application using a same image. So that means you can create any number of containers, same container, or else the any number of containers using the same image. So that is the thing that we have done in here. I'm going to close this. So now the creating the Docker image locally and deploy it local machine is done. It is the step 2. So then let's create a worker pipeline and automate the Docker image creating. So let's go in here and I'm going to clear this out and just close it. Now let's see how to create a worker pipeline. So to do that, let's see. Okay, so to do that, we need a worker .yaml file. So before create the worker.yaml file, let's create an application on our worker tool. So to do that, you can use app.worker.com. If you don't have an account, you can create an account freely, free of charge. So first, I'm going to add the organization. So let's go in here. The organization name is Azure Deployment, and the contact email is my name, my email address. You can use any email address in here. Then go next and finish. In here, you can see Azure Deployment is created. So now I'm going to create an ad application. So in here, I use Azure Deployment user and use the GitHub as our version controlling system. So then you can select your repository from here. So the repository name is Azure Deployment. So search for the Azure Deployment. Sorry for that. Let's refresh it and let's go. And the name of the application is in private. See about it. The applications that inside my GitHub repository. So let's see our application repository name as Azure. It may be let's change my repository name in here, deployment, because the Azure Deployment is the organization name, right? So let's change it as sample, then rename it. Let's refresh this page and let's deployment and go here, and in here I'm going to search for Azure. In here you can see the Azure Deployment sample repository is here. I select it and go next, and click on the SSH key and go here. In here you can make your application public, but I don't want to public it, and you can create the application. So your application has been created. In here you can't see any running application running pipeline, but in here you can see one workflow with one default uh, uh, pipeline. So the pipeline name is build. So now our application has been created, and this is syncing with the GitHub repository that the our source code is uploaded. So now I'm going to create the worker pipeline. So to do that, I'm creating a new file named worker.yml. So make sure to give the name as worker.yml. Don't change the name. So box means I need to get the node version, node image. So in here I'm not going to use the Alpine version. I'm going to use the um, latest version here, not latest. Then the pipeline name, I'm going to use the default pipeline name in here. So it is build. So first I'm using the name and give the steps in here. Steps. So the first step is npm install. After do that, I can run a script like this. Script name is echo Node.js information. In here, I'm going to get the node version and the npm version as a sample pipeline. So code is echo node version is dollar node #v. This will allow you to display the node version. Then I can copy this one and paste in here. In here, I'm going to get the npm version. Here, npm. So this is the first pipeline that we are going to run. So now let's push our source code into the GitHub and let's see what will happen in here. So I'm going to push my source code into the GitHub. So to do that, first I'm going to check the status. In here you can see there are 2 untracked files. So I'm going to git add all, then git commit m worker, and Docker files are created. This is the message I want to give, and git push. Then hit enter. Then your latest source code is uploaded into the GitHub. Then let's go into run, and you can see a pipeline has been triggered with your latest commit message. In here, this is the commit ID and this is the commit message. So in here, let's go inside. So in here, you can see npm install is working. So maybe it will take some time because npm install command is downloading all the dependencies and packages that we need to use in our React application. Cool. So let's see what will how much time it will take. So it is the author is my name, and the branch is main branch, and commit ID is in here, and created a minute ago, and the duration is displayed in here. And additionally, I want to tell you that if you click on this GitHub icon, you can go to the pipeline related repository in the GitHub. So, and if you click on the commit, you can see the commit in here. Here are the newly added files. So this is the commit. So now let's go in here. It is downloading. Yeah. So our npm install has been successfully ran. In here, you can see that the node version is 17.6.0 and npm version is 8.5.1. So these are the messages that we wanted to trigger out in here. You can see that the same message in here. So version has been replaced. Okay, cool. So now we are going to create the Docker image using our worker pipeline. So to do that, you can create a new pipeline. So I take the pipeline name as build Docker. So then I'm going to give these steps. So the first step is you need to define the Docker file name. So to do that, internal / Docker build, and the Docker file is Docker file name, and image name. You can give any image name. So I'm going to use Azure App Deployment. This is the image name that I'm going to use in here. So then our application, our image will be built. So let's see, let's see, is it working properly? So before that, before run the application, before push the source code, I need to build this Docker, this pipeline. So to do that, I copy the name of the pipeline and go to workflow and add new pipeline and give the name, and in here same name and create. So in here, if you have environment variables, you can define them in here. So I don't have them, so I'm going to workflow again. So in here you can see build Docker. So in here we can define the workflow. In here I'm going to give the workflow as the second workflow is build Docker. So and that, and let's go to run. And now I'm going to commit and push my new source code. So here I'm going to clear this out, and in here git commit -m worker file updated. This is the commit name. In here you can see modified worker file is in here. So I'm going to git add all and give the commit and push the source code. Git push, and it is successful. Then we can see a new pipeline will be open to run. So it will take some time maybe. So now see, you can see that there are two pipelines. The first pipeline is let's go inside to the yeah, let's go inside. So the first pipeline is build, and the second one is docker build docker. So let's see how it will take some time because it is running in PV install. So until this pipeline is working running, let's create Azure Container Registry. So to do that, let's log into the Azure um, portal. So portal.azure.com. So in here, I'm using SLIIT ID. So then I can search for container registry. If you can't search see in here, you can search for container registry. So I'm going to container registry. In here you can see container registries and go into there. And in here you can click on create container registry if you don't have any container registry, or else you can use this create button. So I'm going to use the create button, and let's see yeah, in here I'm using the subscription as Azure for students. So in here you can create a new resource group. I'm going to use as Azure app, and hit OK. Then I'm going to register name as Azure app and Azure app and my name. Okay, so in here you can use these things. Yeah, I think it is available. Yeah, it is available. Sorry for that. And you can select the location and also the this one, the SKU. I'm going to use the basic one and go to next. We are not going to change anything in here, and in here and go next, and here. Then now we can validation passed, and let's create it. So our resource has been created. The Azure App Isuru Pathum is created. So let's go to repositories. In here we can't see any repository in here, no result in here. So in here we need some data. So let's go to our pipeline again. So the pipeline is failed. Let's see why it is failed in here. Image name not set. So okay, fine. Yeah. So let's go in here. See what has been happened. So Docker file is here, and the image name. So in here we should give as image name. So cool. So I'm going to commit this one again. So in here we used git commands so far. So I'm going to use the source control in here. I give the message as worker file updated again, and commit and sync change. It will also push our source code, latest source code into the GitHub. So it is done. Let's go to run. In here, a new pipeline has been triggered. So let's give time to deploy it, run it. And until running the application, let's see how to continue with the deploy, push our application into, push our Docker image into the Azure Container Registry. So to do that, we can use internal Docker push command. So in here, internal Docker push command. So in here, I'm going to give the image name as the same name I mentioned before, this one, and username for the Azure Container Registry. So I'm using variables here. So username and password. Cool. So then I need to give the registry. So in here, registry. The registry name should be, we can find it in overview, and this one, copy this one and paste it in here. Then the repository. The repository name is username slash and our application name, this one. Okay, cool. So now this will upload our latest Docker image into Azure Container Registry. So what are these username and password? We can find them in access code. So in here you can see admin user. So this is disabled and I'm going to enable it. So in here you can see the username and the password. So I'm going to add them inside in the build Docker pipeline. So I'm going to give the username, and the username is this one. I'll copy it and paste it in here. Okay, and add, and password. And password, the password is this one, and I copy it and I can paste it, and I can save it as a protected mode and add it. So now it is protected, no one can see it. So our username and password are ready to go. So let's see this one. So in here, same as the local machine, it is running Docker file. So in here you can see the 12 steps in here. So the first step is running this command, and second command, and the third step, and the fourth steps. And in here it is running npm install now. So it will take some time, you know that. So let's give the time for it. So it is copy the all the downloaded dependencies and package to the root or else the working directory, and it also taking some time. Yeah, see in here it is running, and the Docker now the run npm run build command to build the application. And now it is running the last few commands, and copy the content from Azure to web apps from the Docker build image, and define the expose port and run the npm start command, and our Docker image has been built successfully. So in here you can see successfully built inside this Docker build command. Here in here you can see that successfully built, and this is the latest version. So now our this pipeline also, this pipeline workflow also successfully run. So see in here. So then now I'm going to push this source code into the uh, GitHub again. So Azure ACR added. This is the my commit message. So then change, and let's see. Yeah, that's it. So then now again let's go into the ACR worker tool, and in here you can see that the build image is running. So it will take some time, so let's see while it is successful. So please be patient with the screen. So okay, it is running the second step now, second pipeline. Sorry for that. This is the second pipeline. So in here you can see the username and password are stored inside the Docker build pipeline. In here, username and password. So if you don't define it inside the pipeline environment variables, it will show an error message because it cannot be find out the username and password in here. So let's see, it is running in here. So Docker build is running, then the Docker push will be started to run. So before in the last one, so we have only Docker build, but in here in the new pipeline you can see Docker push also added because we have uh, implemented it inside the workup.yaml file here. So in here the Docker build is running still. So let's go to the repository and refresh it. So still it is empty, right? So because it is running now. So copy. It is exporting report and cmd run in running in this message, and yeah, so the build deployment is successful. The image building is successful. So now it is pushing the image into the Azure Container Registry, named with Azure Azure Isuru Pathum. So here it is pushing 62%, 82, and yeah. So now in here you can see that it is successful, right? So our Docker push is successful. So it is storing the artifacts. So let's refresh our repository container registry. In here you can see Azure App Deployment with this username is came in here as the latest version. So that's it for the pushing thing. So let's go to the slide again. So our third step is successful. So and also we uploaded the Docker image to the ACR. So let's see how to deploy the application on Azure App Service. So let's go to the slide again. Okay, cool. So now go to the and search for App Service. So in here, you can see the App Service in here. So go into the App Service and create App Service. And yeah, in here you can give a resource group, and I'm going to give the I'm going to get the Azure app, and app name is I give the app uh, Azure app Suru Pathum, same as the container registry. And in here you should publish Docker container. So operating system is Linux, it's okay. So and uh, the size can be basic or you can change it. So I'm going to use the basic one. So I'm not going to change it. So and go next. And in here single container, and or else you can use Docker single container or Docker Compose. So in here I get the Docker Compose and Azure Container Registry, right? In here you can use also Docker Hub and private registry, but I'm going to use Azure Container Registry in here in this session. So in here you can use the registry name and configuration file. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to use single container and give the image source as Azure Container Registry and registry name and the image name and the tagged latest version, and startup command. Don't put anything in here and go next. And I'm not going to do anything in here and go to tag. I'm not going to give a tag in here. So after verification is successful, we can create our web app. So it is deploying. So it will take some time. Depends on your internet connectivity. So in here, step by step, it is deploying, right? So in here also you can see these deployment in progress. So yes, cool. So our resource has been created. So go to the resource. So in here you can see that the overview, the resource. So let's now you can use this URL to go into your application, but this is deploying. So we can see that in the configuration. Uh, Sorry for that, not in the deployment center, and we can use to go to logs, and it will show the logs that during the deployment. So it is loading. So in here you can see that the image is getting pulled, and it is downloading and it is extracting. And if I refresh this, you can see it is extracting step by step. So in here it is loading and no any error message because it is still deploying in here. So in here I'm going to I go to setting, and in here I turn on continuous deployment. This will allow you to um, uh, this will allow you to deploy your application continuously when the Azure uh, Azure Container Registry get the latest image from the worker pipeline. So let's save it, and it is updating and saving. And let's go to logs again. Let's see what is going on here. It is extracting step by step. So let's give some time to deploy our application by the Azure App Service. So now you can see that extracting is successful. So pull completed. So pull image is successful, and now it is deploying. Cool. In here, you can see our application just deployed on our Azure App Service. So that is how we can deploy our application on Azure App Service. And now let's see our continuous integration is working or not. So to do that, let's change our application. So I'm going to the source code and src file and into the app.js. In here, I'm going to change this one with uh, Azure Container Registry plus Azure App Service. So that is the thing that I'm going to change this message. And in here, I put my name. Okay, cool. So I'm saving this, and let me show you in my local machine first. So npm start. Yeah, it is started. So in here, you can see it is starting. Okay, cool. So it is started, and in here you can see Azure Container Registry plus Azure App Service, and in here my name is enabled in here. So in here the deployment version is this one, even I'm refreshed, but my latest version is this source code. So I'm going to commit it. application updated. This is the commit message and sync. So my source code has been uploaded into the GitHub. So if I refresh the GitHub, so you can see the 18 seconds ago. And if I go to runs in here, you can see my new workflow has been started to run. So this is the first pipeline and this is the second pipeline. So it is running in here. So let's give some time to run this. So I'm not going to do anything with this, but I'm going to the slide again. So now our fourth step is done and this is time to go to the additional step. So additionally, I want to tell you that how to deploy our application on Heroku also. So I'm going to search for Heroku and go to the heroku.com. And if you don't have an account, so please create an account freely. You are enabled to create 5 applications in here. So I'm logging in with my user credentials. So I have already deployed 3 applications, and in here I'm not going to create an I'm going to create an application. So before that, I'm going to write the worker.yaml file. So to do that, let's go to worker.yaml file, and in here I'm going to implement an additional step to do that. So the step name is deploy on Heroku. So go in here, deploy dash Heroku. This is the pipeline name. So now let's define the steps. So first step is Heroku deploy. So it is the thing Heroku dash deploy. Then in here I should give the key. The key can be defined as Heroku underscore key, and then I need the user. So user is in here Heroku underscore. Then I want to give the app name in here, app dash name, and the Heroku app name. So same as before. In here we define the username and password inside the Docker build Docker pipeline. And now I'm going to create a new pipeline name with Docker Heroku and define these key user and app name inside there. So in here I'm going to copy this one pipeline name and go to worker, and this pipeline is still working. So I'm going to add a new pipeline and name is this one and create pipeline. Okay, so our pipeline has been created. Now I need to give the key first, give the key, and we can go to the Heroku app. So I'm going to create a new app name as Azure App, and Azure App is not available. Okay, and deploy. Okay, cool. So then create app, and I'm going to settings. In here you can see Heroku Git URL and things, but I'm not going to use these things, but I'm going to the account setting and go in here. Here you can see the API key. So I'm going to reveal it and copy it in here and paste inside here. I'm going to use product it. Then now Heroku user. So I'm going in here, add this one in here, you can see the Heroku user, my email address. Paste it in here and add it. Then the third one, Heroku app name. So copy it and go to the Heroku and go to Azure App Deploy and copy the name of the application. Then go to worker and paste it. And now it is still running. So in here, I'm going to add a new pipeline into the deploy Heroku. So I'm going to add it. So cool. So until this is running, I'm going to commit the latest source code in here. So Heroku deployment added and hit commit and sync change. So now you can see another pipeline is starting, another workflow is started to run. So inside this workflow, you can see deploy Heroku is also there. So it will take some time to deploy, but let's see about the application updated commit. So in here you can see the it is in the 11th step, and it's time to Docker push. So it will do the thing as it. Cool. Now we have to wait for Docker push, and also for the this one also. So let's see in here. So it is pushing the Docker image into the Azure Container Registry that created by Docker file. Cool. So our newest version of the image has been uploaded into the Azure Container Registry. So let's see. Let's go to the Azure Container Registry that we have created before. So it is this one. So let's go to the repositories and click on it. So in here, the last update is 3.8. So now time is 3.9 in here. So in here, you can see 3.8 p.m. So this is the latest source code, but let's go and refresh this one. But still, it is showing the previous source code, right? Or as the previous application, because it is still deploying. So let me show you it inside the Azure App Service. So let's go into there and let's go to the deployment center, and let's go to the log. In here, you can see that after getting the latest version of the image, it is extracting and downloading the it is pulling the latest image to the app service. So it is ongoing process, so it is still downloading. So after downloading, it will be deployed into the Azure app service. So in here, so still it is not deployed. So after deployment is successful, you can see that the other application will be look like this under localhost 3000. So let's be patient for it. So it is also running, so we have to wait until these processes are uh, end. Okay, these processes are successful. So again, let's try to refresh the log again. Let's see the status of the log. So it is successfully pulled the newest version, and it will deploy in here soon. So even I refresh this one, it is showing the previous application. It is not updated into the latest application. And now what has been happened? I didn't do anything. I just only uploaded my source code into the GitHub after um, doing the development. So what happened is, it is this worker pipeline is started to run. It build the Docker image automatically and push it into the Azure Container Registry. After the latest source code is coming into the Azure Container Registry, the app service will pull the image and deploy it in the Azure App Service. So now under this URL, you can see the application has been updated to the latest version. So now you can see that it is fully automated system. So as I mentioned before in the slide in here, let me explain this again. The developer develop the application and push the newest version of the source code into the GitHub. After GitHub repository is updated, uh, Oracle worker pipeline will be started to trigger. So the Oracle worker pipeline will create a Docker image and push it into the Azure Container Registry. After the Azure Container Registry get the latest source code or else the latest image, the Azure App Service will pull the image from the Azure Container Registry and deploy it on Azure App Service. That is the process that we automated. So we are in the fourth step, and we have implemented the additional step also. So let's go to see the status of it. So it is still building in the build the Docker file. So let's be patient for it. So in here you can see that the Docker build is successful. So now it is time to run the deploy in Heroku. So let's see, will it be successful or fail? So it is set up in the environment by getting the source code from the worker.yaml file. And after verified setup environment, so it is running Heroku deployment. So in here you can see that it is pushing the source code into the Heroku and installing the dependencies and installing node modules. So let's go into this. In here, you can see that in the Heroku dashboard inside the Azure App Deploy, you can see view build progress. So it is starting the build the application. So if you go inside here, you can see the same result as we can see inside the worker pipeline. So it is monitoring the application deployment inside the Heroku deployment. So the build succeed, and in here also we can see build succeed. And yes, in here, let's see what happened. So you can see that in here, the latest message is deployment to Heroku finished successfully. So this workflow also successfully run and deploy our applications in Heroku and also Azure App Service. So in here we can open app, and let's see in here. In here we can see our application has been deployed on Heroku under Azure App deploy.herokuapp.com, and in here we can see Azure App Isuru Pathum.azurewebsites.net. So in here these are the application deployments that I wanted to discuss in this session. So here's the Docker file that we have used, and this is here are some deployment Docker image local machine commands. So additional knowledge sharing also done. So thank you guys for be with me in this session. So I have written the Medium blog for the deployment Node.js application on Azure App Service using ACR also. So you can read it in here. So I'll put it in here. So that's it. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for your time. So, goodbye.